Welcome back to the Brown Paint Podcast. Today I have with me Naveen Ananta, who is an Australian Indian actor, yogi, artist, and creator. He describes what he does as I play life and inspire others to do the same. What that means is to live a life that allows our imagination to go free and to create whatever your heart truly desires. One of his biggest dreams was to be a lead on a TV show. And just this year, he got to do just that on a platform called Z5. And the show is called Howdy. So be sure to check it out and check him out and stay updated with all his stuff. You can follow his Instagram at Naveen Ananta. That's NAVEENLILAANANTA.
Wow.
How are you?
Good. That's an achievement. You've already started off on the right foot there.
That's great. Wow. So, Mr. Professional Actor, successful brown male actor.
Wow.
I'm so impressed and like privileged to be friends with you. How cool.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's funny. It's funny you say successful because I feel like I don't know if it's like a brown thing or if it's just like a thing. For me, it's like I feel like I'm just starting. Do you know what I mean? Like other people are like, oh wow, you've established. To me, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like I don't feel it. Do you know what I mean? I'm like,
I totally feel this too. I think it's a combination of, firstly, I think you're incredibly humble. I think that plays a huge part. And secondly, I totally feel this too. It's like a mixture of like imposter or fraud, feeling like a bit of a fraud in the industry, like feeling like you're always just the beginner. And also with what we do, because it's so inconsistent and gigs come and go every now and then. Like you might have 2 major gigs a year. And in between those moments, like you feel like you almost can't even call yourself an actor or an artist because you're not doing anything, but you are.
But you are. We know we are, right?
Yeah.
But then when someone asks the question, it's like, oh, what are you doing at the moment? You're like, I'm creating. I'm in between things. I'm
auditioning, I'm training, but like, why doesn't that stuff count? Like auditioning is work. Auditioning is work. Training is work. Like sitting by yourself and practicing your craft. That's enough to say that's
exactly. Yes. No, I feel you.
But yeah, no, I'm honestly just so impressed because you are actually the first brown South Asian male that I've heard of being an actual like bigger role in terms of acting. You're probably like the most successful South Asian. Actually,
wow.
South Asian. I know half South Asians that are quite successful, but you're the only
full
South Asian.
I'm the first full South Asian. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, no, actually,
I'm honored. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So before you
I'll take that.
No, yes, take it. It's so important to count our wins. So take it.
All right.
So before you became a professional actor and studied acting at NIDA and all of that, you actually had gone down the law/accounting path, and that's what you studied at uni.
Yes, so that is
correct. How the heck did you end up here? Tell me about that.
All right. Well, that's a little bit of a story. So when it started off, when we get out of high school, we had this kind of default choice when you're brown, you want to go to university, you want to study something. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. So in school, I was good at legal studies and accounting. So I chose that kind of career path. I, picked that, but I was never passionate about it. And one of the things I found straight away was that I would be kind of looking for other things. And at the time, a couple of my friends were doing extra work on sets. So they would go into sets and just kind of stand in the background. And I was at the time, because I'm a student and I was kind of broke, I was like, you know what, that would be pretty dope. Like, getting some extra money on the side. So I went to the agency that was doing the extra work, right? That they were responsible for. And they were like, I came into the office and I was like, hey, these are my friends. Like, I heard what you guys do. And they were like, what's your ethnicity? And I was like, I'm Indian. And they're like, okay, well, actually, there's a role that we need an Indian guy for corporate video, and it's a lead role, and it's paid. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll do it. So they gave me a script, okay? And it's like 3 pages that I have to go and learn. So before this, I've never done acting. I've never done any of this like creative stuff. So went home, learned it as best as I could. And 3 days later, I had the audition. So I go into the audition place, nervous as hell. And I'm just like, all right, fuck, whatever. Like, let's just go for it. Let's just have fun. Get into this room. There's lights. There's a casting director. There's 3 people behind this bench, and then there's a guy reading the other side of the script. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna get in there and I'm just gonna do things. And I was just doing things, and like with an Indian accent and everything. And I was like, all right, cool. And I did it. And I was like, and then I walked out of the room, and I was like, oh wow, like that was the most alive that I've ever felt in my whole life. I didn't know whether, how I went or anything like that, but all I knew was like, man, that feeling experience, that was dope. It was something new, and I wanted more. Couple of days go past, and I get a phone call, and it was the agency place, and they're like, you got the part, and I was like, wait, are you sure? Are you, me? I was like, okay, cool. So I took it. I then showed up on set a couple of days after, and I was doing, whatever the role required. And the casting lady who was on set goes to me, how long have you been acting for? And I was like, oh, it's my first time. It's my first day. And she was like, haha, that's funny. Like, seriously, like, how long have you been acting for? And I was like, no, seriously, this is my first time. I've never done this before. And then she goes, and she had this look on her face of like disbelief. And it was in that moment I was like, wait, maybe I have something here. Maybe I do have some talent here. Maybe this is something I could do. So that was kind of like that first moment of like, interesting. What does this mean? Then it was a whole bunch of years of like self-doubt and anxiety and like, I don't know, boom, boom, starting law, convincing my parents, like, other aunties and uncles being like, I don't know, you should. And then finally, I think it just came to a point. I was like, because I continued doing it, I realized I had to be honest with myself and be like, look, I can either keep pretending to just do this to make the people around me happy, or I can give this a proper go and see where this leads. And it's something that I'm passionate about. And one thing that kind of like one thought that really kept me going always was that in 80 years, when I'm an old man and when I look back at my life, do I want to be a man that's filled with regret, or do I want to be a man that looks back at his life just smiling and happy because I lived my life to the fullest? That, and I always chose the latter.
Wow.
That's kind of how that whole thing happened.
It's such a magical moment, huh? Like it's a tough moment, that whole thing of just sitting down and just being brutally honest with yourself. But it's
Yes.
so worth it in the long run. Can we just dive into that being brutally honest with yourself
Oh,
moment that you had to have? Because
right.
I definitely had that and it is painful. How did you get through that? What did you do to get to that point even?
I think one thing is that sometimes it's a matter of time. Time, I think for me is like the greatest reflection or mirror. You can't avoid it. You can go make choices, you can try and escape things, you can do whatever, but eventually, that truth will always present itself. And so for me, it was like, I think the moment came, I think I was doing an exam, or I was doing like I was trying to read or do an assignment where I had to read like a full like textbook of information. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, come on, dog, you can do this. Like, come on. Like, and and I'm just dying. I'm like, I do not care about section 117, how to delegate tasks of, information in a corral, whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, look, I think I'm just done. I'm just exhausted. Like, and this is
Wow.
not, and I'm like, this is not how life is meant to be. Um, and I and I think, and the funny part of it is like, I was like, I think I always wanted to just play a lawyer, not be a lawyer. I wanted to act
Oh,
as a lawyer, but not be a lawyer. So I was like, okay, cool. And that's kind of,
wow.
so in reality, it was kind of just that exhaustion and being
Mm.
honest with myself about like, is this the way I want to live my life? if this is a preview, this is a preview. You're going down this path. It's just more of this.
Yeah.
Is that what I want?
100%. 100%. Like it's so funny. I'm laughing so hard as you was just saying that, because I went through the exact same thing when I was in my science degree, just like looking at the textbook and thinking, God, I just don't care. Like there are plenty of people out there that would care more than me and deserve to be here more than me. And I'm here like in this really good university doing this science course and just not enjoying one bit of it. Just not right. Like you just know deep down. And I had a moment where I had I think it was a lab report or something, or a prac that I had to do hand in. And on the same day I had the West Side Story auditions. I tell the story all the time. And I had to pick between the two. And obviously I picked West Side Story. Like I didn't I knew, like I was so new to it. So I knew that I wasn't, get a call back or anything, or get a role or anything. But just the honor of like even going to that audition was like cataclysmic, just absolutely huge compared to my stupid little uni assignment. Most people would be like, oh my God, a uni assignment. But that was when I knew, I was like, this is not important to me at all.
This is it's just not a priority at all.
I feel
so
you did. So you finished your degree, right? You did 3 years law and accounting.
I dropped the law aspect of it, and I just finished with an accounting degree, because I was uni for 5 years. Like I was there. Like
jeez.
Yeah. So and the thing
and
is,
that's a long time to try and like hold on for.
I try, and
me too.
We try, and it was funny because I was dropping subjects each year, as in like I started with doing 4 a semester, and then I'll be like 3, then 2, and then that's when I knew. I was like, my friends are like, dude, do you go here? And I'm like,
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I love that. And were you auditioning throughout the time that you were at uni?
Yeah. I was auditioning all the time.
How was that? Was it hard to juggle that?
Yeah, it was, but it almost felt like, oh, what's that? A script? No one cares. Oh, what's that? There's a short film. Oh, no one cares about my exam. So it was more just like of course I had to prioritize and do whatever I could, but it was a different feeling. So
yes,
it's very simple for me, the feeling I wanted, but then it's kind of, it was like a juggling act, really. It was just a juggling act. That's the best way. That's the best way. I totally
feel you with that as well. And during those 3 years, was there a moment, like, did you land any gigs? Did you ever get to a point where you felt like, oh, I could probably manage a career in, let's say, accounting with acting? Was that ever a thing? Or
I did think I thought about a little. I thought a little bit about it, right? I did, but I would like, Will Smith, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a video that I watched of him where he was like, he was talking about, he's like, I don't have a plan B, right? He's like, he goes,
I think I've seen this one.
yeah. I don't have a plan B. I have a plan A, and I just go full hard on that plan A. Wow, is that plan B? I didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I kind of really resonated with that. And the reason why I didn't want to do both things, because if I did accounting and acting, it would be like, I wouldn't be great at either. It's almost like trying to do two things that just don't go hand to hand. So it's like, at some point you have to make a choice, and that's hard because it's scary, but that really your choices reveal to you who you truly are.
Wow.
Choices reveal who you truly
are. I love that. I really struggled with that. It's amazing how fast you came to that realization. That took me a couple years and years and years, because I think I knew for a very long time at the back of my mind that this was something I wanted to do, but I convinced myself that I could do both. I could do like an academic thing at uni and make my
Right.
family proud and do something safe and stable and smart,
Right.
whilst acting, which now
Yeah,
I'm in
yeah,
it and
yeah,
I
yeah.
know it just, oh my goodness, it doesn't,
Yeah,
how are you going to manage a full-time job, and how are
yeah,
you going to take off random days to go to auditions and do,
yeah.
like, it doesn't work. It
It
flat
doesn't
out
work.
doesn't work. Um,
Yeah.
but I'd really love to talk about your, like, what kind of gigs did you do before Howdy? How did you get to that spot? Like, talk me through your acting journey from, I don't know, whenever you started,
Okay. Okay. Right. Good
and
question.
training and everything, because I know there's going to be like lots of beginner actors here that would love to hear the actual journey of how you got to where you got. Um,
Oh, okay. Cool. 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 All right. All right. All right. So, we talked about that first gig. So
yeah.
that was kind of like the breakthrough. But then it was more that I needed to get more experience on
Hmm.
set and doing it, because one thing that I always tell beginners or anyone that wants to do something new, there's always 4 stages of learning, and
Hmm.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that before. So the 4 stages of learning is unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and unconscious competence. Okay.
Wow.
All right. So what that really means is, right, when you start a completely new thing, yeah,
Hmm.
you are completely ignorant about how terrible you are. Okay.
Okay.
Because you have no idea what to expect, what to do. So somehow you're doing things and it feels good, and because of the energy that you have and that complete whatever, it somehow works. Okay, and that's the
Right.
first stage, unconscious incompetence. You don't know how crap you are. You're just, this feels good. Wow, new thing. Oh my god, all right, I love to do this. Right. Then all of a sudden you start learning more information about what you're doing, and you're
Right.
like, oh my god, wow, I cannot believe I did that. Oh my God, like I'm so crap at this. Oh my God, I'm so crap at that. Oh my God, I can't believe, oh, my face looks so weird. And then also you're all of a sudden developing a certain kind of like awareness about what is good and not good
Right.
in the new thing that you're learning. Then the third stage is that you're consciously competent. You know you're good, and you know
Hmm.
where your weaknesses are. You know how to, where things you need to improve and how to get there. And then finally, that last stage of learning is where it just happens automatically. Switch the camera on, you just go, and you're just switched on, and it's like this, bang,
Wow.
bang, bang, bang. So that 4 stages of learning is all about time and experience. And that's, the
Mm.
more you do something again and again and again and again, the better you're going to get it. It's like driving. The first time we drove versus how we drive now. We can
Right.
be thinking about so many different things, and we're driving, and it just comes with ease. So for
Mm.
me, I was like, cool, I know I need to do this a lot more. And when you're beginning with acting, you're not likely going to get on paid sets. You're not going to
Yeah.
get paid for your work, because they want an experienced actor. And if you're not experienced, then catch 22. So
Mm.
one thing that I found straight away was this website called StarNow. And StarNow is this a very, it's like it's like a cute, like independent type of casting website.
Hmm.
Nowhere in the high leagues, more kind of, there are paid jobs that I've done on that, but mostly, there's a lot of student films, and
Yeah.
student films are basically people who are learning film and directing and writing and all that type of stuff, and they need actors to come and do their film projects. So I would go and apply to every single one, and then go to the auditions, and do the best that I can and get those parts. And then just go on this set and go on these set and just gain experience, just doing acting, actually just doing it, not
Yeah.
reading about it, no. So and then I would get that experience, get that experience. But in my mind, I still needed a bit more guidance. And that's where I found this book called The Power of the Actor. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Wait, who's it by?
Ivana Chubbuck.
Yes. Oh my God, I
Yeah,
love her.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, she's
okay, cool,
amazing.
cool, 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 cool.
I
So
haven't read it though,
I
but it's on my
you
list.
haven't read it?
No,
Okay,
it's on
cool.
my
You
list.
have to, you have to read it. You have to
Yeah.
read it. So I got that book, and I started reading that, and I was like,
Yeah.
when you're like,
Yeah.
you're like, wow, like, and at that, I was young, so I was like, I'm still young, but
Mm.
still, I was younger, and I was like, wow, like, I mean, damn, this book is, I'm like, okay, all right, cool, cool, cool. So I read that, and I then wanted to find a coach or someone who is, experienced in this, so I can, kind of, learn it firsthand. So there was this guy, there was a coach called Gareth Harris, and he
Mhm.
was Brisbane. And so I kind of called him up, and I was like, "Hey, I'm Naveen. I want to be an actor, blah blah blah." And he's like, and then he's like a British type of dude. He's like, all right, And they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna try and do a British accent," and but he's an old dude, and like he's very like one of those regimented type of dudes. And he's like, "Okay, well, great. What have you done so far? What's the book that you've read?" Blah. And I always started having a chat. And he's like, "Okay, well, let's do a one-on-one, and let me have a look at you, and let's." So I booked it, and I did this Fresh Prince monologue, the one where Will Smith is talking about his father, where he's
Yeah.
like,
Oh my God.
"I'm gonna be a better dad than you ever was." That whole thing.
I love that. You actually sounded like him just then. You really did. I was like, whoa.
So I went and I did that, and at the end of it, he was like, "You good?" He was like, "You." I was like, and I was like, "Okay, I am." Like, I just needed that kind of like, I just needed that like expert approval. I'm
Mm,
like, because
yeah.
when I guess all right, cool. So I am like, I'm not just wasting my time, right? I'm not just
Yeah.
living in this dream world where I'm a good actor, right? Or like I've got talent, and then I'm just, I don't want to kid myself. I don't want to lie to myself. I just
Yeah.
like just be honest with me. Like that's what I want to just be brutally honest. Tell me either yes or no. Otherwise, I can either end this suffering, or I can go hard and keep going. The
Mhm.
unknowing was what I was like. I'm like, God, like someone. So when he said that, I was like, okay, cool, all right, I'm gonna take this word. So he then had this 10-week, you know, class where you come in and you do the drama work. So I did that. Um, got better. I was really terrible at the start. Being
I
yeah,
think we all.
being in a class in front of 9, 10 other actors,
Mm.
all of them just like interesting, right? I mean, I wouldn't have made that choice myself, but and like everyone's like critiquing you and like whatever. It's like damn, it really gets to you
Yeah, it's
because
so intimidating.
you do a scene and then everyone, and each person's like, oh, what do you think of the scene? And then they go and ask each person's opinion, and
Mm.
and you're standing up there, and when someone's like, yeah, I don't know, it just didn't. You're like, "Okay, that's cool. I'll just go cry myself to sleep. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So that was kind of like the start, education experience, education experience, education experience,
Mhm.
and then it started leveling up, whether it was commercials, whether it was short films, and then had was lucky enough to do like a feature film with the part of, like a local Australian director, and
Wow.
it was like a war film, so that was really really cool. So it just kept going, kept going, but something within me was like, I don't know, something was missing. I was like, I just don't know how to get to that next level, and that's something that's gonna happen in different levels in your career. Always, how do you get to the next level? You'll
Mm.
always reach a certain plateau. Oh, cool, I'm up
Yeah.
here. Like maybe at the start you're able to book short films really easily, and then
Mm.
unable to book commercials, and then you book commercials, but then you're not able to book supporting roles, and then you're booking supporting roles, but you're not able to book leading. It'll keep happening in your life.
Mm.
So that was happening to me, and I was like, I think what I need is extensive training
Yeah.
where I can do it. I wanted to wake up every day and do it
Mm.
again and again and again, so it can be that kind of
Mm.
unconscious incompetent,
Yeah.
level. So that's when NIDA came into my sight. But I've always wanted to go to NIDA. Like, it was always a dream of mine. But yeah, I don't know. I put it off because it just wasn't time. It wasn't time yet,
Yeah.
And all of a sudden last year it was time, and um yeah,
Wow. And
yeah, it just happened.
what was the audition process for NIDA like? So you did the diploma of
Yeah,
acting at
diploma in
NIDA?
stage
Yeah.
and screen. Yeah, so that's the 1 year course. There's a 3 year one and
Yes.
a 1 year one. So for me, I don't want to do the 3 year one because I already had a certain amount of experience. I don't want to spend 3 years studying.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get in, get out.
Yeah, that
So,
and you did a 3-year university degree, and it's like, again, another thing.
yeah, I was like, and it's funny,
A lot.
after I finished the university thing, I was like to myself, I'm never studying again. I literally I was like, I'm never ever studying again in the institution. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, true. Never say never. I learned that. But yeah, so what were we talking about? Yeah, cool. So
Yeah,
yeah,
what was the audition process like?
the audition process was pretty intense. It was a 2-day audition.
Mm-hmm.
So you would come in and you would perform 2 monologues. Yeah, you perform 2 monologues, and they would get you in a circle. And
Was it a classical and contemporary monologue situation?
yes, it was 2 contemporaries, I think.
Oh, okay.
They didn't need for
I
you
didn't push you to do like Shakespeare.
yeah. I didn't have to do Shakespeare on that one. Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, but in the 3-year one, you have to do a Shakespeare and a contemporary. That's right.
Okay. Yes.
So they got you in the circle, and basically there's no order.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever someone feels the urge, they just get up, do a monologue, and then the next person would go.
What?
I waited. I was like, I'm like, yo, go. I'm like, do your thing. I'm like, cool. And I'm pretty sure I went like second last because I'm like, that's when the urge came. So I went second last, and like everyone was standing up and doing their monologues. So I was like, all right, cool. Let me change the levels, and I just sat down. I sat down and did the monologue. I sat down, did the monologue, made it really intimate, made it really like, like nice. It was like, what was the monologue? And we walked right through town. Yeah, it was like this Sam Shepard monologue. It was like,
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like, yeah, it's basically this guy talking about him falling in love with his stepsister. It's strictly professional monologue. I didn't write it.
How did you access that, Naveen? Did you draw from personal experience?
I had to go deep within. I had to go really. No, I don't have a sister.
He's digging himself a grave. Oh my God, so funny.
So anyway, I should have monologue. Let's just leave.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did that, and at the end of it, they were like, kind of cutting people. They were like, okay, cool. Unfortunately, and it got down to like the last 4 people, and I was like, oh shit, I don't know if I'm gonna make the call back. But the girl next to me did a really good job, and I was like, no way, that they're canceling her, like, right? I mean, like, but she did so well. So we went into the hall, and there was this guy. His name is Philip Quast. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's like a big guy in musical theater.
Oh,
Philip
no.
Quast. And then so he was like, unfortunately, and like pause. I was like, wow, all actors. I was like, unfortunately, you guys all coming back tomorrow to do the callback, and I was like, that's not funny, Doug. I was like, that's not funny. Like, but it was good though. It was good.
Awesome.
So I did the callback. Yeah, and with the callback, similar thing. They get you in a circle. They, share your point of view about something. I shared my point of view about religion and kind of how I felt about it. And because I grew up Christian, and I didn't really like how, certain religions and certain things can kind of enforce beliefs onto you for you to think a certain way. So I was kind of like, very passionate and very like, I was like, no, like this is not how, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, like a bit angry, like a bit more like, and then they felt it, they really dug it. And like, I think I think the monologue and that kind of point of view, that was sharp and that was like, on point is probably the reason why.
Why do they do that? Is that so that they can see that you have a level of deep thinking or
that point of view exercise?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you see, like what the explanation that they had is like, if 2 people were gonna read, let's say, the white pages. Do you know what the white pages are?
No.
Or like, okay, do you know a phone book? You know a phone book?
Yeah. Oh, right.
There
Yes.
you go.
Yeah.
Right, a
Yeah.
phone book. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. All right, phone book.
I
Right.
thought you were talking like some play or something. I was like, what?
Okay, all right. No. Okay, cool. So you take a phone book. You take a phone book, for example. All
Hmm.
right, and you get two people to read the phone book. Okay.
Hmm.
For some reason, you'll find that one of them is more interesting than the other. Right?
Right.
For some reason, they're like, I'm like, but you don't know why. You're like, oh, that's more interesting. When this guy reads, I'm zoning out. Like, I really don't care. But when
Wow.
this guy reads, that's really, really interesting. I don't know why. Right? So the best example that I can give is like, take like a great actor like Denzel Washington. If you read a phone book, that would
Mhm.
still be interesting to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
reason for it is because of their point of views of life. If you have
Right.
a point of view that's kind of like, oh, I mean, I don't know, like, I guess like, yeah, I live my life and like I do this and do that, whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know, that's
Mm.
boring. Like no one wants to hear that,
Right.
But if you have a very strong point of view, and it can be whatever, like it doesn't mean like, hey, you know what, this is my
Mm.
point of view. It can be like, no, my point of view is that I think life is just all about chill, and that the key to life is just chilling out, doing nothing, absolutely whatever you want to do. You're like, oh, that's an interesting point of view. That's what makes you interesting to watch as an actor,
Yes.
as a character, as everything. So
Mm.
you naturally need to be interesting for
Mm.
someone to invest their time in you,
Mm.
because that's what people are doing when they watch you. They're investing
Yes.
their time. If you're not interesting and if you're just average,
Yeah.
I have that in my day-to-day life. Why
Yeah,
should
that's
I
so
watch
true.
you?
That's so true. You like it's a substance
Yeah,
thing, right? Like the
it's a
more
substance thing.
like worldly isn't the right word, but just I guess the more a person's able to like pull from their real life experiences and conquer
Yeah,
themselves as a human first, the more you can then conquer characters because you're able to understand humanity and understand where that lives in you. And I think that I was
yeah,
actually thinking about this the other day. I was like, why do people find actors specifically so damn attractive? And I
right.
think that that's why, because actors have to conquer themselves first. They have to have a really solid
Yeah,
understanding of themselves emotionally in order
yeah,
to play these characters. And that comes across like when you talk to someone who has a deeper ability to think and um, has conquered themselves in some way. I suppose that's attractive because you can hear that through their voice. You can hear that they're well traveled or well spoken. You can hear that they've lived a little, I guess.
right. Yes, yeah. No,
Yeah.
definitely. I agree with that. I agree with that.
And
It's
that's
that
interesting to
depth.
watch.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
interesting to watch. Exactly. That is. And they're
Mm.
able to play the characters on a much more deeper scale,
That's really interesting. That's so cool. Can I ask you another question about your experience
Yes.
as an actor? And you can say yes or no, okay? It
Okay.
doesn't have to, like, you don't have to try and be politically correct here because my answer to this question would be no. But the question is, do you feel like your skin color as a South Asian man or just like being a South Asian man has affected either positively or negatively your experience with acting? And again, don't feel pressured. I know like the current climate of today, but like you don't feel pressured to say either or maybe you haven't noticed. I'm just curious.
No. I've definitely noticed. I think it has its pros and
Hmm.
it also has its negatives. Okay.
Hmm.
And I definitely want to shed that light on both, because
Hmm.
the pros is that, when it comes to a spot open, especially for commercials and like for
Mm.
businesses, it's like, oh shit, oh, we need a brown face in here to hit that multicultural quota.
Yes.
Oh, oh, there's so many white people up on this thing, we gotta get that, someone cast them real quick.
Yeah.
So, and then we're like, I mean it's 5 grand, 10 grand. I'll come through, let's
Heck
go.
yeah.
So we that's kind of the pro side, or that's like
Mm.
the bonus or whatever, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But then for them to turn around and be like, cool, well, actually, we just want you to play this type of character.
Mm.
You know, you're just a you're we want you to play a taxi driver, or we want you to play an IT professional. We want you to play this guy. I'm like, no, I'm not just that. You know, I'm more than that. So like, I mean, I'll give you an example. Like, you know, the other day I had this email, and it was like this offer for a role, and it's been a couple months actually. Anyway, so the email was like and I read the role, and the brief is this Indian IT guy who is scamming old ladies, okay. And and making money off that. And I read this role, and I was like, wow, this is like so stereotyped, and so, and like, really racially, like, like
Yeah.
discriminating. So I took a second, I looked at that, and I was like, yeah, this is not gonna fly. So I sent them a reply, and I was like, look, this is 2020. Like, this behavior is not acceptable at all. Like, imagine a kid who's brown, watching
Yeah.
this, and how that would make him feel growing up. So I gave him a really strong
Wow.
reply, and just shut that thing down, because I mean,
That's
like, I was
really
like,
great that you did that. I think most people wouldn't have the guts to do that. And also then they can actually do something about it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, instead
yeah,
of, I find that a lot of the times we complain behind a screen, or we complain about how this show did this or this show did that. And we gossip about how, I don't know, non-color conscious casting and yada, yada. But send them a
yeah,
freaking email so they can do something about it if you actually want to change it. So I commend you
exactly.
on that. It's really amazing.
Thank
Takes a lot
you.
of balls.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, continue.
No. That was it. And yeah, like, I mean, and the whole question of doing Indian accent, I think that's I want to do it on my terms. You don't get that from
Okay.
me on your terms. When I feel like it, and when I feel like the script is suitable, and like, and it's serving a bigger purpose, then sure. But just for some dude just to have a laugh at our expense,
Yeah,
that's not
okay.
that's not cool.
I get that.
You know?
That's a really powerful distinguishing little point you made about if it serves a purpose in the actual piece, it makes sense. But
Yeah.
otherwise, it's like, why are you asking me to, I don't
Do
know,
this.
yeah, make fun of
Like,
my own race in a way.
in a way, exactly. And the thing is, it's like with Howdy, I had to do an Indian accent, but
Yeah,
with that one, it was really addressing a deeper issue, is
right.
the, about subtle racism, and
Oh,
of Australians,
right.
and we're talking about white
Yeah.
Australians, so I feel like, people have subtle racism where they do it politely. They'll be like, oh, well, I love your look, or I love your, it's like, oh, wait, like, oh, so you speak English so well, just things like that. It's like say what you want.
Yeah.
What do you want to say? Like, say it to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, you think I'm brown? You don't think,
Yeah.
so, but this character that was the lead character in Howdy, he's a very open racist. He's just like, he's out there racist. He doesn't care what anyone thinks. But the beauty of that comedy, or the beauty of that, is that he's reflecting the real truth of what they want to say, but they're too afraid to say. You see?
I love that.
That's how they truly are inside, but they're just too, I'm sorry.
Is
I'm
that
going to treat
your
you
character?
differently. Suddenly. That's not my character.
The other character.
That's someone else's character.
Yeah.
But that character can only do that if my
Right.
character is
Okay.
playing that version. That's where
Okay.
you know what I mean? Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
For those of you that haven't seen Howdy, including me, I still haven't gotten around to getting in. But sign up to like a free trial of Z5 and check him out. I'm sure it's incredible. Like, I've seen some of your self-tapes and things, and I know that you're actually a freaking good actor. So I'm excited to see it.
Thank you.
I want to ask, before we move on to the next question, just one
Sure.
last question on the whole racism situation. Can the
Mhm.
Indian accent be done in a way that's comedic and in a comedy or a skit, and it not
Yeah.
be making fun of it? Where's the line between it becoming like satirical versus like funny and okay and appropriate?
That's a tough question.
It is, it
That's a
is.
that's a really tough question.
Because
And
to be honest, right, like, and I don't know if this
Mhm.
is racist for me to say, but I find that our accent, I'm not Indian, I'm Sri Lankan, by the way. I find that our accent it's quite, like, it's a little, like, there are some accents that are like softer and there are some
Mhm.
accents that are harder, and you compare the accents, right? And the South Asian accent stands out, just like the Scottish accent stands out. And
Right.
I find that it is kind of funny. Like, even when
Yeah.
I watch Korean dramas and I find their accent really funny and it's
Right.
pleasant to watch. But I
Yeah.
don't think, I hope that's not racist of me.
Right.
Yeah, can that be done in a way that's, yeah, where's the line drawn? Anyway, I'm blabbing. Yeah.
I think I think it really is about the context, right?
Yeah.
So, it's it's about a certain level of sensitivity. If
Mhm.
if if I was if I was oh, I'm trying to think of it. I'm trying to think of another minority. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool. What
Asian.
Asian? Okay, cool. Like, okay, cool. If I was to sit here and do a Chinese accent, be like, oh, no,
Mhm.
no, 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 like, me, like whatever, like, and do a whole bit on that, right?
Yeah.
And kind of and keep going to, let's say,
Mhm.
me eating pork, or I don't know, just doing just crazy things. How much ever I can push it, right? It
Mm.
becomes a bit insensitive, because the reason for it is, if the roles are reversed, how would I feel if someone did that to me, right?
Right.
So the basic real principle, yeah, go
Mhm.
tell me.
I was just gonna say, I meant as in, like, if for a brown person to do the brown accent, not someone else,
Oh,
because that's a
okay,
bit
cool.
bad. Like,
Yeah, okay,
but
cool. Yeah,
like
that's it.
for you, like, if you were to do the accent, where's the
Yes.
line between it being funny and the writing being like more satirical and making fun of the culture versus, yeah.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, I think it really does come down to that, serving that higher purpose. I think if you
Okay.
if you're just doing if you're just doing it just for the comical, for
Okay.
getting attention for that, there's nothing wrong with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if that's what you want to do, that's you.
Mm.
Like that, you get to live your life however you want.
Mm.
But from my perspective, yeah, I think it has to serve a higher purpose. Otherwise,
Right. Okay.
why are you putting your why are
Mm.
you making fun of your own, yeah, like your own thing? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like this, that's how your parents talk. That's
Can
like
I,
how.
exact, I was just about to say, can I, like, just push it a little further and ask, what do you think about, for example, Lily Singh or Jay Hana or Mai Choni, or one of those people that actually they've made an entire living off of making fun of their own culture and, like, doing parodies of their own parents with their accent?
I think I think
Is it
I think
ethical?
I think, I mean, like, to me, it's not like, it's like that's fine. That's what you want to do. You
Mm.
can do that. But then don't cry when someone else is racist to you, because you contributed
Mm.
to that racism. It's like that, then you're becoming a
Wow.
hypocrite, right?
Mm.
It's like,
That
but
makes sense.
if all of a sudden, if Lily Singh goes to, like, someone does an Indian accent, she's like, what, like a white person does an Indian accent, and she's like, oh, that's racist, you shouldn't be doing that. It's like, wait a minute, but
Mm.
you did that to your own people. Like, do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, you can't then expect, you can't have expectations of other people when you yourself have not done that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes
So
sense. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the part where I'm like, cool.
Just
Then you have to be willing to accept you're part of the problem. That's all.
mm.
You take responsibility for that. Do your thing.
I
Yeah.
think what you said is really fair. Just for the record, guys, like, I have nothing wrong with Lily Singh. I love her and all those people. I found it really funny, but it is a bit like borderline with some points. Like, I think overall, I don't have a problem with it, but there are bits where I'm like, well, what is this really encouraging?
Yeah. What do you mean? You
And
know?
another part I have a problem with, that's sort of like glorifying the bad parts of toxic brown parenting and tiger parenting. And I'm
Right.
like it's funny and it's healing to laugh about it, but at some point, when are we going to actually fess up and say, actually, like, a lot of
We
brown
should do
parents
something
are
about it.
toxic and it's wrong and we need to do something about it. But anyway, that's another topic.
Yeah.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
that's a whole
brown,
shebang. Yeah.
I know. Speaking of brown parents, I really wanted to ask you, what was it like? Because you briefly touched on that at the very beginning. What was it like telling your parents and the wider brown community of yours, your family? It sounds like you faced a little bit of adversity there, becoming an actor and going from being a lawyer, which is one of the most respected brown pathways, and then going to being an actor, which is kind of like drop kick.
um, it's interesting because for me, obviously, there's a lot of anxiety within me to share that with them, and the resistance, I might face because you yourself in that position don't know. Do you know what I mean? You yourself don't know. You yourself can't stand there and be like, no, I'm gonna make it, blah 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 blah. It's unknown for you. So what you're really looking for is support in that context.
Yeah.
I'd love your support, and when you're like, "Ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna get that," and that becomes a little more scary. But I was lucky enough with my mom because she always wanted to be an actress. She wanted, like, that's
Really?
something that she wanted. Like, she's a dancer. She's yeah, she's
Really?
very yeah. So that's something
Wow.
that she wanted. So with her, it didn't take that much convincing, to do. Like,
Wow.
it was more like, yeah, she was okay with that, but my dad was a little bit more like, okay, interesting.
Mm.
I think he needed a bit more time to be like, okay, I mean, I gotta see, let's see where you take this. I'm gonna be a bit more hesitant, but overall the resistance, or more so convincing, kind of was about how other people are gonna, the extended family, outsiders, gonna deal with mom. Because what happens is, when, let's say, especially in the brown community, if a child makes a wrong choice according to brown standards, or like deviates from the path that's meant to be, then all the aunties and everyone's like, oh, it's the mother, it's like, blame her,
Yeah,
and
it's a reflection of bad parenting. Yeah. My dad copped it really hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
So
that,
unfair.
so it's the kind of like, it's like, how can you be so stupid? He just had 1 year left in his law degree, he should have finished that. Like, acting and this, who knows where it's gonna blah. So it was the constant, that she had to deal with, slash, that kind of was harder than actually the close family, and yeah, because obviously, when you're in a family, how someone close to you feels affects you.
Mm.
If they're not feeling happy and they're feeling sad, you're not gonna be like, oh, good, don't worry about it.
Mm.
You're gonna mirror that feeling. So I think that was more, it was hard for me to see her go through that,
Yes.
and me feel like, shit, I don't want to put her through that,
I caused that. Yeah, I
yeah,
definitely, and I still feel that a lot. I feel very
yeah.
responsible. Like, I realize that we're live here. If anyone that's in my family friend circle is hearing this, just, I don't know. But basically, yeah, like my dad essentially not got booted out of his family friend circle, but sort of like people started distancing themselves from us,
Right.
including like family friends that are my age, like their families and like those parents would start like pulling their kids away from me because they thought I was a bad influence because
Right.
I, dropped out of uni to go and become an actress and do the arts and stuff like that. And so now my
Right.
dad doesn't have any of his old friends. I mean, not that it would really, I think it was more of a catalyst because those friends were kind of a little bit toxic anyway, but I do
Right.
feel bad. I feel bad that he had to
Yeah.
go through so much scrutiny that was just so unfair on his parenting choices, it wasn't even his choice, it was my choice, but also like
Yeah.
the fact that he lost so many friends, I feel a little bit responsible for that. And that's tough. Like seeing it's like those aunties, they could say it all to you, but like having them do that to someone that you love is 10 times worse.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really dealing with that guilt, you know, because you feel guilty for that, you know, and yeah, that was more harder than anything, really, to be honest.
Yeah. Wow. And are you still going through that, or are you at a point now where they're like, oh, he's a successful actor, like we want to be friends with them again?
No, like, I mean, I think like now I can be like, well, my results speak for itself. Like, it's like now, like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, cool. Well, you can't, obviously I still got a long way to go, but you can't argue with what I've done, you know? And yeah, so it's like, now it's like, you can say what you want, but now they're just opinions. Before, because it's unknown, it's projections.
Yes. You know? How did you not let that get to you, if that makes sense? Like other people's projected fears onto you. How did you stay sane from that? Or did you not?
I mean, it affected me. Like, don't get me wrong. It did. But then I was like, you know, either I can define my reality by theirs, or I can choose to create my own. And I was like, I'm choosing to create my own, you know. And yeah, I mean, like, it was so I mean, this is getting real. This is getting personal, but there was, you know, I was dating a girl at that time when I was in this crossroads, and she told me, like, you know what, you're not 6 feet and white, like, you know, you're probably not gonna make it, you know. And like, you know, and I was like, wow, okay, fair enough, like, cool.
And that's why you're not dating her anymore.
I was like, actually, she's can you imagine? It's like, oh, that's we got engaged.
Oh god.
No. Oh, meet my wife.
Oh dear. I hope she's not watching this.
No, I mean, no, I mean, I don't think it's fun.
Okay,
anymore, like, on social media. But yeah, so that was hard, you know. But I think, yeah, it's just will.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know what? No.
Any advice for like young brown, like South Asian kids that are going through the hardships of trying to convince their family that following their dreams is a good idea?
Yes, I think the biggest thing is find something bigger than you.
Ooh.
Find something bigger than you. You make it just about yourself and making it won't last. But you find it about you, but you find something bigger than you, as in inspiring the next generation, maybe, you know, or I think when I was younger, for me, it was like, you know, one day whenever I have children, you know, when they look up to me and they've got dreams, right? They've got aspirations that they want to go. I can either sit there and be like, I don't know if you're going to make it, you know, I don't know, you know, because I, you know, I haven't done it myself. Or I can be like, actually, kids, I've done that. And I believe in you, and I'll do whatever it takes for that to be a reality for you. So that really drove me, you know, and I was like, I'm going to make that happen, because in no world am I ever setting limitations on what they can achieve, but that can only be possibility if I can achieve it myself. Yeah.
Wow, that's so powerful. I cannot agree with you more. I mean, what an ultimate, like, yeah, you're right. Just like making it bigger than you. Like whoa, that blew my mind a little bit. Yeah, no, thank you for that. And in terms of like starting off, any advice for young actors listening to this?
Any step is a step. Small step, big step, any step is a step. You know, whether it is going and researching the best acting book and going and reading that, that's a start. You know, going and watching your favorite actor talk about acting, that's a step, you know. So as long as each day you take a new step, It's just a matter of time.
Oh my God, I
Steps.
should be making a little book of quotes by Naveen because you're just spitting them out here. This is so good. I'm like, whoa, geez, look at the guru talking. And he does yoga. Oh my goodness.
I do my best.
Yeah. Do you have a well-being routine?
I do.
What do you do for your well-being?
You know, it's been a while because the thing is, like, I don't know. I like the biggest trouble for me was like consistency, you know, and routine.
Me too.
I find like having like, let's say, you know, waking up at a certain time and then having a set routine, doing it every day, like that like I can't do it. Drives me crazy. I need like different stuff to keep me engaged. Because if I'm doing the same thing again and again, like on like the 7th day, I'm gonna be like,
I hate that.
I hate this thing, you know.
The curse of being a creative.
Yeah, we need constant change, you know, and kind of in a way chaos, you know. So only recently, very recently, you know, after many attempts, I'm like, cool, I'm trying something new where kind of, you know, I wake up at a certain time, like, you know, 6 a.m. or 6 a.m., 6:30 around that time. And then, you know, I'll go either do rock climbing on.
Wait, you rock climb?
I do, yeah.
Stop! What the frick? I rock climb. What do you do? Boulder or climb?
Bouldering, you know?
Stop.
Like, yeah.
Me too. Wait, do you go to Urban Climb in Brisbane?
Stop. Are you? Huh? Yeah. What?
Stop! I have a membership at Urban Climb here. No way.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm obsessed.
What level? What level are you on?
I'm like,
what level are you on?
I just conquered greens pretty confidently,
Okay,
moving into reds. What about you?
Oh, okay, damn. Okay. Now I should have gone first. I mean, like, damn. Okay.
What?
Yeah, I'm on black. Yeah. That's yeah.
Wait, are you serious? I was like, damn, you're in black.
I'm on orange. I'm on orange and green.
I love it. Love it.
But I have not done a red yet. So I'm like, that's my like next.
Yeah,
goal.
me too. I still haven't done a red. Oh,
okay.
That's like, we're on the same level.
We're on the same level.
Oh
okay,
my God.
All right, that's cool. There you go.
If you ever come to Melbourne, or if I ever come up there, like we need to climb together.
Yeah. Not even like a no. Let's go straight.
Do
to
you
climbing.
go? No, seriously. I've been inviting everyone climbing. It's my favorite thing ever. How long have you been climbing?
Honestly, not that long. You know, like I keep doing it on and off. So I would go like I did it like a month ago. I did like a couple of sessions. But I didn't sign up for the membership yet. And then only recently I was like, you know, I was like, cool, now I'm going to commit to this. So I got the membership and I want to go on a regular basis. So it's so I probably climbed 3 or 4 times altogether. Wait,
what? You've only climbed 4 times ever in your life and you're on a green?
Yeah. How long did it take?
I've been climbing for like nearly a year. You know how, and like I'm fast. Like that's considered like pretty good to be in a green now. Like, oh really? Yeah, like people take 3 years just to get to a bloody red. How the heck? What? You must be like a freak of nature. That's nuts. You do realize like black and white's pro.
Black and white is pro. Like, you know.
So like you're an intermediate and you've only climbed 4 times. What?
But when I was a kid, I used to climb a lot. Like I used to climb trees. And
maybe you have it in you. I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
What the heck? Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna have to watch out because like in a month you'll be a bloody white.
I literally thought that was like normal. Like,
no, it's not at all.
Oh wow, okay. That's cool.
Maybe this is your new career. Maybe you can be like a pro climber.
Yeah, this is what I've been looking for. That moment of disbelief. I'm like, wait, maybe. Like this is
that moment that you had in your first audition for acting, but now it's climbing. That's hilarious. Oh my God.
Oh wow.
Okay, anyway, cool. Sorry, we
Yeah.
just went on a huge tangent about climbing, but your well-being practice. Sometimes you go rock climbing.
Rock climbing, and then again mix it back to then I would probably alternate it and then do yoga. And then I used to do martial arts as a kid, and I grew, like, when I came to Australia and stuff, I lost track of it. So I want to get back into that. So martial arts, yoga, rock climbing, and yeah, maybe dance. Like that's probably kind
Really?
of,
Dance
yeah.
is in
So
just boogie in your room?
just boogie, and
Oh,
like,
I love
maybe
it.
I wouldn't mind like taking some classes as well, like, maybe like a bit of salsa, like, hip hop, or
Oh
like,
my gosh. Oh, I wish you were here. I would take you to some classes. I have heaps of people that are like actors or singers, and they're like, Adia, take me to a class. I was like, oh, it'd be great if we just got like a group of people and just went
that would
to
be
some
dope.
beginner
Yeah.
hip hop classes. Oh,
Yeah,
love it.
I
What a
would love that.
vibe.
I would love that.
But you live like freaking in another state.
I
Damn.
mean, time will tell. I'm not closed off to the idea
Mm,
of, like, I'm always like, I live out of a suitcase. Like that's kind of like the way I
I love
live
it.
right now.
I love it. I love it. Last
Never know.
question.
Yes.
What well-being advice would you give to actors that are struggling with the whole thing about rejection? You audition so much and only to get rejected almost every time. I think there's some statistic, it might be an outdated statistic, but it's an Australian statistic that says 9 out of like 9 out of, oh shit, I've forgotten the statistics, but it was something like 9 out of 1 out of 9. Oh God, 1 out of 9
1 out of 9. Okay.
auditions that you do, you'll get as
Oh
an
wow.
Australian
Okay.
actor. But I feel like even that's pretty high.
I'm like,
Maybe
okay,
it's just me,
interesting.
I don't know. But yeah, how do you deal with rejection? What advice would you give? Because it's like almost married with being an actor, unfortunately.
Yeah, 100%. Rejection was definitely something I used to struggle a lot with, because you put your heart and soul into, I mean, hopefully, you put your heart and soul into each script or each thing, and it's touching a part of you. And when they go, nah, it's almost like they're rejecting something very that's close to your that's very home to you, and you're like, what do you mean you reject like this? It's like I'm giving everything that I am, like, what do you mean, but I think after doing and being behind certain different processes, like for example, like, I've created some films and things like that, and I've been part of the casting process where I select who I want to work with, things like that. When you get on that angle, or you're looking at people to cast, or you're looking at a thing, when you're actually doing it, it's really not us sitting here going like, oh wow, that was really crap, or like that wasn't, it's more like, is this person the right person for this role to serve the story, to serve, that bigger, whatever that bigger picture it is that we're trying to create. So a lot of times when, you get rejection, they're not actually rejecting you. They're just rejecting just this, it's more about not the right fit, it's just not the right fit, so I would say take this idea of rejection out. It's more about is it the right fit or not? So,
It's so
if
true.
someone says no, it's like, cool, it just wasn't the right fit. It wasn't meant for me,
Sometimes you
and
don't know, like sometimes it could be as silly as you were like for example, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child at the moment. The
yeah,
audition requirements are so specific. Like if you're Hagrid, you have to be within these centimeters, like in terms
yeah,
of height. And if you're even 1 centimeter off the height limit, you can't get it, no matter how great of an actor you are. But
yeah,
they need to fulfill those height requirements. Or sometimes it's you have a tattoo and it's not going to
yeah.
work for this reason or that reason. And it's sometimes
Yeah.
really dumb.
It really, really is, it really, really dumb stuff. I think, yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I don't have a story off the top of my head with that one. But what I always say is, like, if it's meant for you, it will come.
Yeah.
If it's meant for you, it will come. Yeah.
And you're at a point
Whatever's meant for you.
now that you don't feel rejection. You don't feel like it gets to you anymore?
No, I think for me, I'm like, you know what? It's not meant to be,
Yeah.
like I give my best,
Mm.
and yeah, then it's like you can take it or leave it. Like that choice is on
Mm.
you. Do you know what I mean? Like it's beyond my sense of control. Like
Mm.
I can sit here and be like, you need to take me, blah, blah, blah. I can get angry about it, I can get sad about it. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
So it's about really just having other things
Mm.
to just keep you moving forward. Make your life so like exuberant that you're like, oh cool, I totally forgot about that, I'm already on to the next thing, you know what I
So
mean?
true. It's so true.
Otherwise you're being defined by
Mm.
just this one aspect of your life. That's just one aspect. It's not your
I
entire life.
found that, I don't know about you, but climbing really did that to me. Really, like, oh, I can't even explain how in love I am with climbing and how it's changed my life, because it
Right.
gave me, for the first time ever in my entire life, it gave me something that wasn't creative, or that wasn't something that I was trying to make into a career or monetize or like make into a bigger thing. It gave me something that was just for once in my life, just a hobby. And it wasn't
Right.
something creative. It wasn't creatively exhausting me. And having climbing all of a sudden made my relationship with my craft and dance and singing and auditioning and that entire world and industry, it made my relationship with that so much better, because I had
Right.
something to look forward to after, a long day of auditions or dance or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd go to the gym and climb and be with my
Right.
climbing friends. And, it doesn't matter, because I have stuff to look forward to and another
Yeah.
life outside of this creative world that I'm in. And that
Yeah.
fulfills me. And I know that, if I get rejected or like don't land any gigs or whatever like that, I know that I always have climbing and good people at the gym.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. It's so simple, but it's so
It
powerful. It's like
really is.
your oasis, your freedom. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
bother me here.
And
Yeah.
I love that I suck at climbing too, because it means like there's no stakes. Like with
Yes.
everything, because especially when you're an artist, your hobbies and your career tend to kind of like just merge, and it gets a bit icky at
Yeah.
times, because you're really trying to like extract um skill and value and like monetization out of this thing that you really love and is so like
Yeah.
intrinsic to you and your soul. And it's really
Yeah.
tough, because sometimes you can really take advantage of that thing that you love. You can really like
Yeah.
what's it called, I don't know, like just take too much than it's willing to give and just butcher it almost.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
yeah, so to have a hobby that's not anything to do with that thing that you're doing is so healthy. Because
Yeah.
my hobby for the longest time was dance and acting and all that stuff, but I'm like, now
Right.
I have something else.
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
thing is, your hobbies, once you start making money, it becomes work,
Yeah.
and you have to become a professional.
Mm,
And it's a slight little adjustment, but it makes it's different.
huge difference.
And sometimes you might not have fun, sometimes
Yeah.
it might not be fun, whereas your
Mm,
hobby is
yeah.
supposed to give you that. It's not
Yeah.
always like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
your work can be very, you can, yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Climbing is always fun. Just always
Yeah,
love
climbing's
climbing.
always fun. There's no one there standing there being like, you need to hit that orange, but today, let's go. I want you to be sad while you. Yeah. There's no one doing that.
I love it. I can't believe that you climb. That's so amazing. Whenever I find another climber, I'm just like, oh my goodness, we need to be friends, because there aren't very many of us. And
Yeah.
it's just great. It's just great. And
No, I feel you.
do you find that other climbers like super like friendly as well? I don't know about your gym, but I find that the
I
climbing
I do.
amazing.
I feel like I make friends, quite easily there. Like I'm gonna be like, I met this Indian guy like the other day, and like I was climbing and I was like, oh, what's up? And then he was like, oh, what's up? And then just started having conversation, and the thing is, because I feel like there's like this like common element of like working through the
A
thing, and you'd be like,
problem,
oh,
yeah.
I'm stuck here. And he's like, oh, did you get through it? Yeah, I did. I went like this and I put my leg here, and you're like, oh wow, you put your leg like that? Yeah, cool. And then sharing, and then like it's
Yeah.
like we're helping each other conquer like our little problem of this rock.
Yes, no, it's so true. It's such a bonding experience. I love it. We have to wrap this segment up, but I want to ask last question. If you have any advice for someone that's listening to this, you know, a younger boy that's in, you know, a law/accounting degree, maybe you're talking to your younger self. What advice would you give? You know, this person's really at their crossroads and they're trying to just make that jump to follow their dreams and they're freaked out. What is the one thing you would tell that person?
I would say that wherever you're supposed to end up, it's inevitable. Okay. And because it is inevitable, trust the process.
I love that. I love that.
So,
love that.
Yeah. So sooner or later, you're going to make that choice. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Naveen. Thank you for being here today and for like spreading all your wisdom and all that great advice and being so generous and vulnerable, and appreciate it. And I'll definitely have to have you on again because this was great. This is great. You have lots to share and a lot more that I had written down that we didn't talk about. So definitely, like, if you're down,
we'll do a part 2, depending on how your audience, you know. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Love it. Thank you so much. Okay.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed that. Thank you, Adi.